What's up, everybody? I was involved at my job in planning and executing a military ball. It's the first time I've ever been a part of something like this. It was a good experience overall, but it took a lot of time, and I had to do that job in conjunction with my regular job, which is also demanding. Sometimes that's how it works in the Army. You get additional duties, and the additional duties that you're given, they don't give you an excuse to only do that duty. You have to do your job as well. So it was a stressful time, especially because there was someone on the team who became increasingly difficult to work with. This person was unbelievable. I've never worked with somebody like this before in all my years in the Army. And the way it worked was there were 5 of us, and we were all the same rank. There were 3 military, including me, and 2 civilians. We were all the same rank. That contributed to a lot of the issues. If you have to rely on your rank in the Army and the military, it's probably a bad situation, but sometimes it's what you have to rely on to get people to fall in line and to come together to accomplish the mission. But that wasn't a tool that I had in my toolkit because we were all the same rank. So this person, toward the end, and I was the lead of the team, which made it even more difficult. This person toward the end got to the point where this person was not listening, not communicating, not informing other members of the team what this person was working on. It became a real challenge in leadership and how to deal with somebody who simply will not be coordinated. Overall, it was a great experience, but there were definitely some drawbacks, some things that I would do differently if I was in a leadership position overseeing something like this. The most important thing is that the big boss had a great time. He had nothing but good things to say about it, which is most important. I learned a lot. I kept detailed notes of everything that I did. A military ball is one of those additional duties that people avoid like the plague. They ask for volunteers. My leadership asked for volunteers, and only 4 people volunteered. One person ended up quitting, and then we ended up getting another person on the way. If we hadn't got the person that we got along the way, we wouldn't have been successful because he did all the budget, he did the ticket sales, he did all that stuff, all the stuff that nobody sees, but all the accounting and all those types of activities where if you don't get it right, the whole event is going to fail. So if we hadn't had him, there would have been no way we would have been successful. That partially explains why I didn't have the bandwidth to do a lot of videos over the past couple of months, because with my regular job as a Department of the Army Systems Coordinator and with leading that ball effort, the ball planning and execution effort, my time was spoken for, and any time that I wasn't either working or exercising, I was taking care of my basic needs, eating, sleeping, trying to recover the bandwidth and trying to recover and come back more strong. If you ever get a chance to lead a holiday party or a formal event for your organization, whether military, civilian, I would say, and I would recommend to volunteer for it because it'll stretch you, it will stress you, and it will help you learn in the long run. I'm grateful for the experience in the long run, but a lot of times in life, the painful portions mean the most because they resonate in your memory the most, and you learn the most from those situations. My regular job so far has been good. I've learned a lot. I switched to another platform called JLTV, which is one of the Army's premier vehicles, one of the more high visibility programs in the Joint Force. Right now, I'm a Department of the Army Systems Coordinator for a JLTV, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. That's been a good experience because I came from the Detroit area out here to the Pentagon So I know a lot of the people who are in the JLTV program because they're based out of Detroit in the organization that I just came from. That was a good experience going from something that I didn't know, a lot of Intel platforms, I didn't have any relationships in that area, to moving to JLTV and working with JLTV because I know all of these people. So it was definitely, it has been a definite advantage for me as I've continued to learn, continued to grow, continued to learn more about how the Army does acquisition, how the Joint Force does acquisition. No complaints about the job. I'm having a great time and I'm learning a lot. I'm continuing to study French. I've also started studying Spanish. I'm pretty decent with French at this point. I've been studying for about 2 years. I don't think I'd consider myself fluent, but I can definitely get around a French speaking country using French only and being able to understand enough. I think the deal I struggle most with, the facet I struggle the most with in French is comprehension. And also, there are times where I can't find the right word. But I know that with time and continuing to listen, continuing to study, I'll reach the point where I'm able to understand 90 to 95% of the time, maybe even 100% of the time, and where I'm able to talk without thinking about it. At this point, my daily practice looks something like this. I'll normally listen to French podcasts, French news, a French Stoicism channel that I like for about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. And that'll be walking around my neighborhood, commuting to and from the Pentagon. And then when I'm driving in the morning or whenever I'm driving, I'll take the 15, 20 minutes while I'm driving to talk out loud, to speak, so that I can become more proficient in speaking. Just speaking to myself in French has helped me tremendously, and I plan to do this with Spanish in the future. But Spanish, it's tough to find time for Spanish with all my other interests, my job, and all my other activities. Alors, le français, c'est un petit peu difficile pour moi de comprendre parfois parce que je ne peux pas toujours dire où les phrases finies et les phrases commencent, je pense. Mais je continue de pratiquer mon français, je vais continuer de pratiquer mon français. Je suis allé à Montréal pendant 3 jours avec ma cousine et j'étais capable de comprendre la plupart des conversations, des conversations avec les locuteurs natifs. Et c'était une bonne expérience pour moi parce que c'était un test, c'était une épreuve pour moi de voir comment je me suis amélioré en ce qui concerne le français et en ce qui concerne mes études et comment efficace mes études. Et aussi c'était un boost pour ma confiance, parce que quand tu es dans une situation où tu dois utiliser le français, tu dois utiliser ta langue ciblée et la langue que tu souhaites apprendre, oui, il n'y a pas un autre choix. Il n'y a pas un autre choix. À Montréal, les gens, la plupart du temps, parlent anglais aussi, mais pour moi, je me suis défié de ne pas parler anglais. Et alors, c'est mon histoire de français. And yeah, that was just a little bit of the French that I've learned. I'm sure that I made a lot of mistakes, but after 2 years, I'm pretty proud that I can even talk in sentences and be basically understood. If you want to learn another language, it's something that I would recommend doing. It doesn't matter how old you are. Obviously, if you're younger, the way that the brain works It's going to be easier before you turn 25. It's going to be easier to absorb a language. But if you're older than 25, like I am, it's still possible. There are so many resources that you can use. I use this site called italki, where I think I've taken at this point 125 lessons with native speakers from Morocco, Algeria, France, Canada, and a bunch of other, Cameroon, and some other countries. That's helped a lot to become more conversational. But I think that learning a language for me, it's been a humbling experience because you take for granted how well you can speak your target language, like I'm speaking, or your native language, like I'm speaking English right now. But put yourself in a situation where you're struggling to find the right words, like a toddler, and you quickly realize that you're not as good as you want to be, and that, at least for me, it makes me more hungry. You also learn a lot about the world, and you also learn about how languages are related. I never understood and knew how closely English was related to French and how closely English was related to a lot of other languages. And also, when you're learning, say, a Romance language like French, you can see so many similarities in the other Romance languages like Italian, Spanish, Portuguese. So after I make more progress with Spanish, I'll have even more of a foundation to be able to learn the other Romance languages if I want to, like Portuguese and Italian. I haven't been reading as many books because of my language studies, but I still continue to read as much as I can. I use Audible mostly to do my reading. And also, I'm going back through and reading for, I think it's the second or third time since I joined the Army, Once an Eagle by Anton Meyer, which is a great book. I'm getting through it again. Being able to read Once an Eagle as I'm progressing and in the later stages of my Army career, it looks like, has been a cool perspective because looking back, you see things from a different perspective after you're a seasoned Army officer or Army enlisted member. You see things and you see Sam Damon, who is the protagonist in the book. You see his situations and his experiences a lot differently. You can identify with them more because inevitably you have more experience if you've been in the Army as long as I have. You've incidentally been able to gather experiences whether you've liked them or not, and I can see a lot of my experiences that I've gone through and that I've collected over my time in the Army. I saw a lot of those in the writing in Sam Damon's life. When I was in my early 20s and I first read the book, it was difficult for me to identify with Sam Damon except for the earlier stages of his career when he was a brand new lieutenant. But now that I'm more seasoned and I'm more high ranking, I've collected more experiences over my career, there are so many corollaries, and it gives me a good bit of validation reading Once an Eagle again. It's entertaining and it's also sobering because it reinforces to me, and it's reinforced to me, that the Army life, the military life, is difficult, but it's rewarding. I'll talk a bit about the channel strategy and my reflections on the channel. As I've said in other updates that I've done in the past, the channel has, in a sense, taken a back seat because I haven't quite realized, in terms of effort, the progress that I've wanted to realize with the channel. It's become more of a hobby to me, and it's become more of a quest where I don't want to lose everything that I've worked for, so I continue to work on it for that reason. I continue to work on it to hone my skills, to refresh my skills in video editing at the level that I want to maintain them. What I know I need to do to return to the same growth that I was achieving in 20 and 21 is to do more reviews. I've simply not had the bandwidth, and I've not wanted to spend the money on extra jump ropes because I already have several jump ropes. I move a lot. They're difficult to store, they're difficult to account for, and some of them are expensive. I've been trying to live a more minimalist life over the past year and a half. I've gotten rid and discarded several items that were no longer useful to me. And a lot of the jump ropes I have that I don't necessarily enjoy using, I barely use them. I have to, as I've said in other updates, look at what I want to do with the channel. It would be nice when I got out of the Army, whenever that's going to be able to work on the channel only. But it doesn't look like the jump rope space is large enough for me to be able to do that. And there are times when I think that the jump rope space may have reached its peak during the pandemic because nobody could go to gyms and people were working at home. What I've realized is that I can't control the outside conditions, external conditions, but I can control my attitude toward the channel. I can control how often I film, which I haven't been filming enough, and I can control how often I post and the quality of the content that I post. What I've thought about doing with this channel is making it more of a wellness and personal development channel that is targeted toward finance, targeted toward jump rope, targeted toward living well, doing all of the activities that you need in this world to live well, being able to account for your finances, spending money wisely, tracking finances, exercising, eating right, all of the basics that in our modern world we all know that we need to do, but that can be difficult to do and can take a lot of reminding to do and to do well. So I'm thinking about shifting. I tried to start a personal finance channel, but trying to start another YouTube channel after starting this one, when I put so much work into this one, it's too much to manage another YouTube channel. So what I'll probably do is I'll keep the name the same, Jump Rope Veteran, because that's the name that started this whole deal, and I'd like to keep the name. But slowly but surely, it's likely that I'll begin to upload more general wellness videos with a focus on jump rope. I'll always do videos on jump rope. Jump rope helps keep me healthy. It is a low impact, high reward exercise. I know I'm not going to be able to run forever. I probably have about 10 or 15 years left of running. But with jump rope, I see people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are continuing to jump rope because they kept doing it and they never stopped. Lastly, I'd like to thank everybody for continuing to support the channel. It's been over 6 years now. I think I started the channel on December 22nd, 2018. So it's been just over 6 years that I've started the channel. There have been a few people who have been subscribed that entire time, and that means a lot to me. For the people who subscribed and then left, I appreciate you. For the people who just subscribed and followed, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who's supported there in between. It means a lot to me. Being able to cultivate a following and a community online of over 1,000 people, that's something that is quite difficult to do. YouTube has a way of only showing you the people who have millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then people accept that as the norm. That's not the norm. There, for every, I would say, one person with 100,000, 200,000, a million subscribers, there are probably thousands of people who tried but never had any traction on YouTube, whether that is because of the YouTube algorithm or because of their own inability to upload videos consistently because of how busy life is and how things change. There are a lot more people, probably orders of magnitude more people, who don't gain any success. And when I say success, I mean being eligible for the YouTube Partner Program, having 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, I think it is, than there are who can make it. I feel very fortunate that I even was able to accumulate 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And that has everything to do with people who have continued to watch the channel and support me. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Jump rope to freedom. Peace.